Then we finish it. Ambassador Quilks thanked them and left. Through the window of their morning came, though in a space station it was just a change in the lighting. The corridor outside the cell grew brighter. Taeyang woke slowly, every muscle protesting. His ribs screamed with each breath. The cut on his face throbbed. Across the cell, the others were stirring. Bo-Ram sat up carefully, testing her shoulder. Hyunwoo's face looked worse than it had last night, all purple and swollen. Daeun looked the most intact, but even she moved stiffly. I feel like I got hit by a cargo shuttle, Hyunwoo groaned. You got hit by a Krylloth warrior, Bo-Ram reminded him. Several times. That explains it. A security officer brought them breakfast. Simple food, but edible. They ate quietly, none of them talking much. The adrenaline was long gone. Now there was just pain, and the knowledge that they were still in detention. An hour later, the Vect security leader appeared. You're being released, he said, unlocking the cell. All charges dropped. Really? Taeyang stood slowly. What changed? We reviewed all available recordings. Multiple witnesses confirmed that the Krylloth initiated physical violence. You acted in self-defense. The Vect paused. The warrior who drew the plasma blade has been charged with attempted murder. The others face assault charges. And us? Free to go. Though you're banned from the gravity well for 6 months. Fair enough, Taeyang said. We probably weren't planning to go back anyway. They were escorted out of the detention area and back into the main station. As they walked through the corridors, beings stopped to stare. Some pointed. Others quickly moved out of their way. They're scared of us, Daeun observed quietly. Or respectful, Bo-Ram suggested. Hard to tell. They made it back to their ship without incident. The cargo hauler sat in its docking bay, ugly but functional. Home. Taeyang had never been happier to see it. Inside, they collapsed in the common area. The ship's simple furniture felt like luxury after the holding cell. So, Hyunwoo said. That happened. That happened, Bo-Ram agreed. Taeyang's communication device buzzed. He checked it and frowned. We've got messages. A lot of messages. About the fight? Daeun asked. Yeah. News services want interviews. Some companies want to hire us as security. There's even a message from someone wanting to make a documentary. You're kidding. Nope. He scrolled through more. And there's one from Ambassador Quilks. He wants to speak with us again. The little gray guy from last night? Hyunwoo asked. That's him. They decided to ignore most of the messages, but Taeyang responded to Quilks. The ambassador arrived at their ship within an hour. He was smaller than Taeyang remembered, barely a meter tall. His gray skin looked soft, his large eyes taking in everything. He carried a datapad and seemed nervous. Thank you for seeing me, Quilks said, settling into a chair that was too big for him. I have more questions if you don't mind. Go ahead, Taeyang said. Last night I submitted my initial report to the Galactic Council. It caused quite a stir. They want more information about human combat capabilities. We're not soldiers, Bo-Ram said. We're just cargo haulers. Exactly, Quilks said. That's what concerns them. If civilian humans can defeat trained Krylloth warriors, what could your military do? We weren't trying to make a statement, Taeyang said. We were just defending ourselves. I understand. But you must see how this looks from an outside perspective. Humans have been in the galactic community for only 15 years. In that time, you've been largely ignored or dismissed as weak. Now, in one night, that perception has changed dramatically. Because of a bar fight? Taeyeon sounded incredulous. Because of what the bar fight revealed. Quilks pulled up data on his pad. Do you know what happened after you were detained? The recordings of the fight spread across the station network, then to other stations. Now it's on the galactic news feeds. Millions of beings have watched it. Great, Hyunwoo muttered. My mom's going to kill me, Quilks continued. Various species are analyzing the footage. Military strategists, xenobiologists, even philosophers. Everyone wants to understand how you did what you did. We just fought, Taeyang said. No, you did more than that. Quilks brought up video on his pad, showing the fight from multiple angles. Look here. The young one takes a hit that should have broken his jaw. He staggers, clearly in pain. But then he becomes more aggressive, not less. This goes against every biological instinct most species have. He showed another clip. Here, the female with the shoulder injury. She continues fighting even after her arm is dislocated. Uses her other arm without hesitation. Most beings would have been incapacitated. Another clip. Taeyang getting hit by Thum. This blow would have killed some species, seriously injured most others. You get up and smile. That terrified everyone watching. I wasn't thinking about it, Taeyang admitted. I just knew I couldn't stay down. If I did, it was over. Exactly, Quilk said. You have something my species lacks. Something most species lack. You have the ability to override survival instincts. Pain tells most beings to stop. Fear tells them to flee. But humans can choose to ignore these signals. Not always, Daun said. We're not fearless. I was scared during that fight. But you fought anyway. That's the point. Fear didn't control you. Boram shifted in her seat. So what does the Galactic Council want? Are we in trouble? No, not trouble. But there are concerns. Some species are frightened. They're calling for restrictions on human movement, human weapons access, even human reproduction rates. That's insane, Hyunwoo said. Perhaps, but it's happening. There are also those who want to ally with humanity, who see potential in working together. The galaxy is divided on what to do about your species. Because of a bar fight, Taeyang said again, still not quite believing it. Because of what it represents, humans are more dangerous than anyone realized. Not because you're naturally armed or armored, but because you can turn anything into a weapon and you refuse to give up. Quilks looked at each of them. I need to ask you something important. Is this common? Would other humans react the same way you did? They looked at each other. Finally, Taeyang spoke. Yeah, most would. Maybe not exactly the same, but the basic response? Not backing down when threatened. Fighting together? Yeah, that's pretty normal for us. All of you? Most, Daun said. There are always exceptions. But generally, yes. Humans don't like being pushed around. Quilks made notes. And your pain tolerance? Your ability to keep fighting when injured? Depends on the person, Boram said. Some handle pain better than others. But we're all capable of pushing through when we need to. And the rage? The increasing aggression despite worsening injuries? Hyunwoo rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. It's called getting angry. When someone keeps hitting you, keeps coming at you, something just snaps. You stop thinking about protecting yourself and start thinking about making them stop. By any means necessary, Quilk said softly. Well, yeah. The ambassador was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I'm going to be honest with you. My report is going to change how the galaxy views your species. Some will fear you. Others will respect you. But no one will dismiss you as weak anymore. We never asked for that, Taeyang said. I know. But it's happening regardless. Miss Quilk stood. I should warn you, your lives are about to become complicated. More people will want to hire you. Some will want to test you. Others will want to befriend you or make alliances. A few will want to challenge you. We just want to haul cargo, Boram said. That may no longer be an option. You've become symbols of something larger than yourselves. After Quilks left, they sat in silence. The weight of what he'd said pressed down on them. This is ridiculous, Hyunwoo finally said. We didn't do anything special. We did what we had to do, Taeyang corrected. But I guess to them that's special enough. So what now? Daeun asked. Do we just go back to normal? Can we? Boram wondered. Taeyang's communicator buzzed again. More messages, more requests. He turned it off. Like, we try. We keep working. We do our jobs. And if anyone else wants to start something, we handle it the same way we handled last night. By winning? Hyunwoo asked. By not backing down, Taeyang said. By standing together. That's all we did. That's all we can do. Over the next few days, things got stranger. The video of the fight had indeed gone viral across the galactic network. Humans on other stations reported being treated differently, some with fear, some with respect, but none with the casual dismissal they'd received before. Military analysts from various species requested meetings with human officials. Scientists wanted to study human physiology, particularly pain tolerance and endurance. Philosophers debated what it meant that humans could override survival instincts so completely. The Krylloth species issued a formal statement. They acknowledged that they had underestimated humanity. The warrior who'd started the fight was stripped of his rank. The one who drew the blade was expelled from his clan entirely. Thum sent a personal message to Taeyang. It was simple. You taught me something important. Strength isn't just about size. I was wrong to dismiss your kind. Thank you for the lesson. Taeyang showed it to the others. He sounds sincere. He got his skull cracked, Boram pointed out. That probably helped with the sincerity. The Galactic Council held emergency sessions to discuss humanity. Some wanted restrictions. Others wanted part. 3 months had passed since the fight at the gravity well. Taiyang's crew had completed 6 cargo runs in that time, moving goods across various systems. Each stop brought new reactions to their growing reputation. Some stations greeted them warmly, others with suspicion. But nowhere did anyone treat them like the fragile newcomers they once were. Now they were heading back to Nexus Station. They had a delivery to make, and despite being banned from the gravity well, they needed to dock for supplies and rest. "Think they'll remember us?" Hyunwoo asked as they approached the station. "The entire galaxy remembers us," Boram said. "Of course they will." The young man's face had healed well. Only a small scar near his eye remained from that night. Boram's shoulder was fully recovered. Taiyang's ribs had taken the longest to heal, but even those were finally pain-free. Dayun had left them after the second cargo run. She'd received offers from multiple medical facilities, all wanting the human doctor who'd fought in the famous Brawl. She'd taken a position on a frontier station where her skills were needed most. They'd parted as friends. Docking clearance came through quickly. Too quickly, Taiyang thought. Usually there was a wait. "Something's different," he said. "Yeah," Boram agreed, studying her instruments. "We're being given priority docking." "That's new." They landed in a berth much better than what they usually got. As they powered down the ship, Taiyang noticed a small welcoming committee waiting outside. "Here we go," he muttered. The committee consisted of a station administrator, a Vecth similar to the security leader they'd met before, and several other officials. They all wore ceremonial sashes. Taiyang, Boram, and Hyunwoo descended the ramp. The officials bowed or performed their species-equivalent greeting. "Welcome back," the administrator said. She was a Felkari, cat-like with bronze fur. "We're honored to have you return to Nexus Station." "We're just here for supplies," Taiyang said carefully. Of course. But we wanted to extend our gratitude. Since the incident 3 months ago, Nexus Station has seen a significant increase in trade. Many species are curious about humans now. They come here hoping to see some of your kind." "We're not a tourist attraction," Boram said. "No, certainly not. But your presence here, your willingness to stand up for yourselves, it sent a message. That Nexus Station is a place where might doesn't always make right, where even the smallest can defend themselves." The administrator smiled. "It's been good for business. And good for peace. There have been far fewer incidents since that night." "Because everyone's afraid we'll fight back?" Hyunwoo asked. "Because everyone knows someone might fight back," the Vecth corrected. "The strong think twice before bullying the weak now. Your actions taught them that." The officials left them after a few more pleasantries. The crew stood on the docking platform looking at each other. "That was weird," Hyunwoo said. "Everything's weird now," Boram replied. They made their way into the station proper. The corridors were as crowded as always, but the crowd parted for them. Beings moved aside, some with respect, others with wariness. A few brave souls asked for pictures. Taiyang politely declined. At a supply depot, the merchant, a blob-like Quellan, gave them a discount. "For what you did," it said. "My nephew was being harassed by some thugs. After he saw your fight, he stood up to them. They backed down. I'm glad he's okay," Taiyang said. "He's more than okay. He's proud now. You showed him that being small doesn't mean being helpless." They encountered similar reactions throughout the station. Gratitude, respect, curiosity. It was exhausting. Finally, they stopped at a different bar. Not the gravity well, obviously, but a place called the Void's Edge. It was quieter, more upscale. They found a table in the back. "I miss being anonymous," Boram said after their drinks arrived. "Me too," Taiyang agreed. "This is going to be our lives now, isn't it?" "Probably," Hyunwoo said. "We're famous. Well, infamous, maybe." A figure approached their table. Massive, gray-skinned, familiar. Thum the Gravik from the original fight. Taiyang tensed, but Thum held up his hands in a peaceful gesture. "May I join you?" After a pause, Taiyang nodded to an empty chair. Thum sat, the chair creaking under his weight. "I wanted to speak with you," Thum said. "To apologize properly in person." "You already sent a message," Taiyang said. "Words on a screen aren't enough. What I did that night was wrong. I judged you by your appearance, by my own arrogance. I thought because I was larger, I was superior." Thum looked down at his massive hands. "You taught me otherwise. Painfully, but I deserve that." "We don't hold grudges," Boram said. "You weren't the one who started it. You just got caught up in it. I made it worse. I could have stopped it. Instead, I joined in. Thum met each of their eyes in turn. I've been thinking about that night for 3 months. About what it means. And what does it mean? Hyunwoo asked. That strength comes in many forms. That pride makes you blind. That sometimes the smallest creatures are the most dangerous. Thum leaned back. Since that night, I've been studying your species. Your history, your wars, your achievements. Do you know what I learned? What? Taeyang asked. That you're survivors. Every other species in the galaxy evolved on worlds that were relatively safe, protected. But humans? Your world tried to kill you every day. Predators, diseases, weather, other humans. And you survived it all. You thrived. Our planet isn't that bad, Boram protested. Compared to most worlds, it's a nightmare. Heavy gravity, extreme weather variations, thousands of lethal predators, and you evolved without any natural defenses. No claws, no venom, no armor. Just your minds and your stubbornness. Thum smiled, showing flat teeth. You should have gone extinct. Instead, you conquered your entire world. We just adapted, Taeyang said. Exactly. That's your real strength. Adaptation, you can eat almost anything. Survive in almost any climate. Learn almost any skill. And when threatened, you become the most stubborn, relentless fighters in the galaxy. Thum took a drink from his own massive cup. That night, you adapted to fighting Krilloth. You learned their weaknesses mid-battle and exploited them. Do you even realize how remarkable that is? We were just trying not to lose, Hyunwoo said. You were doing something most species can't. You were learning while under extreme stress and pain. Most beings revert to instinct when hurt. You became more strategic. They sat in silence for a moment. Around them, the bar carried on with its business. Other species talked, laughed, made deals. The galaxy turning as it always did. Why are you telling us this? Taeyang finally asked. Because I think you don't fully understand what you've become. Symbols. Proof that the old order is changing. Before your species arrived, strength was measured in natural weapons, size, technology. But humans have shown that determination and adaptability matter more than any of that. We didn't mean to change anything, Boram said. We just wanted a drink, I know. That makes it even more significant. Thum stood. I should go. But I wanted you to know that you have friends now. Many beings look up to what you did. If you ever need help, there are those who would stand with you. Including you? Hyunwoo asked. Especially me. I owe you a debt. You could have killed me that night. You had the means and the justification, but you held back. That restraint, that mercy, it means something. After Thum left, they sat finishing their drinks. The bar was pleasant, the atmosphere calm. It was nice. A young Krilloth approached their table. Not one from the fight, but clearly of the same species. It stood uncertainly nearby. Can we help you? Taeyang asked, keeping his voice neutral. I wanted to apologize, the Krilloth said in clicking common speak, for my species' behavior that night. What they did was dishonorable. You were guests on this station. You deserved respect. It's okay, Taeyang said. We don't blame your whole species for what a few individuals did. That's generous. More generous than we deserve. The young Krilloth shifted nervously. Since that night, things have changed among my people. The warriors who fought you have been dishonored. But more than that, we've been forced to reconsider our attitudes. We thought we were the greatest warriors in the galaxy. Your kind proved we were wrong. We're not warriors, Boram said. We're cargo haulers, that makes it worse. If civilian humans can defeat trained Krilloth warriors, what does that say about us? The Krilloth's mandibles clicked. It says we let our pride blind us. We forgot that honor isn't about strength. It's about conduct. That's very wise, Taeyang said. I hope so. My generation is trying to be better, to learn from the mistakes of those who came before. The young Krilloth bowed, a gesture of deep respect in its culture. Thank you for the lesson, even if it was a harsh one. After the Krilloth left, Hyunwoo shook his head. This is surreal. We're getting thanked for beating people up. We're getting thanked for standing up for ourselves, Taeyang corrected. There's a difference, is there though? We still fought. We still hurt people. We defended ourselves, Boram said firmly. They made it physical. We just finished it. Don't feel guilty about that. I don't feel guilty exactly. It's just strange. 3 months ago we were nobody. Now we're some kind of symbol. Symbols can be powerful, a new voice said. They looked up. Ambassador Quilk stood beside their table, his small form almost hidden in the crowd. He'd approached so quietly none of them had noticed. Mind if I sit? The security team came through the door with weapons drawn. They were a mixed species unit, wearing the gray armor of Nexus Station Authority. The leader was a Vecth, tall and reptilian with scales that shimmered under the bar's lights. "Nobody move," the Vecth shouted. Taeyang very carefully placed the plasma blade on the floor and raised his hands. Around him, the others did the same. Hyunwoo swayed on his feet but kept his hands up. Boram cradled her injured arm. Daeun stood perfectly still. The security team spread out, weapons trained on everyone involved in the fight. Their eyes went wide as they took in the scene. Broken furniture everywhere. Unconscious or groaning Krylloth warriors scattered across the floor. The massive Gravik Thum sat against the wall looking dazed. And 4 humans, bloody and battered but standing. "What happened here?" the Vecth demanded. "They started it," one of the few conscious Krylloth warriors said, pointing at Hyunwoo. "The human attacked without provocation." "That's not true," Daeun said calmly. "I witnessed the whole thing. The Krylloth struck first." "She's lying," the Krylloth insisted. "Her own kind." The Vecth security leader looked around the bar. "Anyone else see what happened?" Several aliens raised tentacles, hands, or other appendages. A small blue creature spoke up in a high voice. The human bumped into the warrior by accident. Apologized. The warrior hit him anyway. Another alien, something with too many eyes, nodded its agreement. The humans tried to walk away. The insects wouldn't let them. The Krylloth warrior's mandibles clicked in fury, but he said nothing. "Medical team is on the way," one of the security officers said. "For all of them." "We don't need it," Hyunwoo said, then winced as he touched his swollen eye. The Vecth stared at him. "You have multiple injuries. You need medical attention." "I'm fine," Hyunwoo insisted. Boram laughed, then gasped as the movement hurt her ribs. "Kid, your face looks like raw meat." "Take the help." The medical team arrived minutes later. They were professional, efficient, and clearly shocked by what they found. The lead medic, a being made mostly of crystalline structures, examined the Krylloth warriors first. 3 unconscious, 2 with broken limbs, all with various trauma, the crystal medic reported. "They need transport to the medical bay immediately." Thum refused help at first, his pride wounded worse than his body. "I'm fine, just dizzy." "You have a concussion," the medic told him. "Possibly a fractured skull. You're coming with us." They turned their attention to the humans. The crystal medic scanned Taeyang with a handheld device. The readings made its facets glow brighter with surprise. "You have 2 cracked ribs, facial lacerations, a broken nose, and significant bruising throughout your torso," the medic said. "How are you standing?" "Practice," Taeyang said simply. They examined Hyunwoo next. Concussion, fractured orbital bone, 3 broken knuckles, possible jaw fracture. "Sit down before you fall down." Hyunwoo sat. Boram's shoulder was dislocated, just as she'd thought. Her knuckles were also broken, and she had a deep cut across her forearm. Daeun had fared better with only bruises and minor cuts, but the medic still insisted on examining her. "You need to come to the medical bay," the crystal medic told them. "All of you." "We'll walk there ourselves," Taeyang said. "You have 2 cracked ribs. I've had worse." The Vecth security leader had been speaking into a communication device. Now he turned back to the group. "You're all being detained pending investigation. Medical treatment first, then holding cells." "Understood," Taeyang said. They were escorted out of the gravity well. As they passed through the door, Taeyang glanced back. Ambassador Quilk still sat at his corner table watching them leave. The small gray alien's large eyes met Taeyang's for just a moment. Then they were in the corridor, being led through the station toward the medical bay. Other beings in the corridor stopped to stare. Word was already spreading. 4 humans had fought a dozen Krylloth warriors and a Gravik. And won. People pulled out communication devices, recording as they passed. "We're famous," Boram muttered. "Great," Hyunwoo said. "That's just what I wanted." The medical bay was clean and bright, all white surfaces and humming equipment. The humans were separated into different treatment areas. Medical staff, various species in white uniforms moved between them. Taeyang lay on an examination table while a spider-like alien doctor worked on his face. The cut was deep, requiring stitches. The doctor's many legs worked quickly, mandibles clicking softly as it concentrated. "This will hurt," the doctor said. "It already hurts." "Fair point." The doctor began stitching. "I must ask, why didn't you stop fighting?" "Your species has pain receptors. You should have been incapacitated." "Should have," Taeyang agreed. "But we weren't." "But why? What evolutionary advantage does this serve?" Taeyang thought about it. "Because sometimes stopping means dying. Our ancestors learned that a long time ago. The ones who kept fighting when they were hurt survived. The ones who stopped didn't. The doctor paused in its work. So you evolved to ignore pain? Not ignore it. We feel it just fine. But we can push through it when we have to. Fascinating, the doctor murmured. And terrifying. In the next area, Hyunwoo was arguing with his doctor. I don't need to stay overnight. You have a concussion, the doctor, a floating blob of translucent gel, told him. You need observation. I'll be fine. You might not be. Human brains are delicate. A concussion can be serious. Everything about humans is supposed to be delicate, Hyunwoo said. But here we are. Boram was gritting her teeth as a mechanical doctor reset her shoulder. Dayun was in the next bed, already patched up and waiting. She'd refused pain medication, saying she wanted to stay alert. Hours passed. The medical staff finished their work. The humans were cleaned, stitched, bandaged, and medicated, though they'd all tried to refuse the medication. The doctors insisted. Finally, security came to escort them to the holding cells. These were different from prisons, just temporary detention areas. Each cell had a bed, a basic cleaning facility, and a small window looking out into the corridor. They put all 4 humans in the same cell. The Vecth security leader seemed to think they'd feel better together. He was right. As soon as the door closed, Hyunwoo flopped onto one of the beds. That went well. Idiot, Boram said, but she was smiling. You punched a Krylloth warrior in the face. He hit our captain first. Tae-yang sat on another bed, moving carefully because of his ribs. Next time, maybe don't punch things with an exoskeleton. Use elbows or kicks. There's going to be a next time. Tae-yan asked. Probably not, Tae-yang admitted. But if there is, we'll be smarter about it. They sat in silence for a while. The adrenaline was wearing off, and the pain was settling in despite the medication. Everything hurt. Did we really win? Hyunwoo asked quietly. We're still standing, Boram said. They're not. I'd call that a win. We're also in a holding cell, Daun pointed out. Details. Outside their cell, other detainees were being brought in, Krylloth warriors looking subdued and humiliated. They were placed in separate cells far from the humans. Thum was given a reinforced cell designed for beings of his size. None of them looked at the humans as they passed. Ambassador Quilks appeared in the corridor. He spoke briefly with the Vect security leader, showing some kind of identification. The leader nodded and led him to the human cell. May I speak with you? Quilks asked, his voice high and precise. Sure, Tae-yang said. We're not going anywhere. Quilks's large eyes studied each of them in turn. I am Ambassador Quilks of the Centauri people. I was present during the altercation. I have recorded everything in my official capacity as an observer for the Galactic Council. Great, Boram said. So everyone will know we got into a bar fight. I have questions, Quilks continued. If you're willing to answer them. Depends on the questions, Tae-yang said. Why didn't you flee? When the confrontation began, you could have left the bar. Your species is faster than Krylloth in short bursts. You could have escaped. Tae-yang met the ambassador's gaze. And go where? Back to our ship? They knew what we were. They could have followed. And besides, we didn't do anything wrong. Why should we run? Because you were outnumbered. Because they were physically larger and better armed naturally. Because any logical assessment would have shown you couldn't win. But we did win, Hyunwoo said. Yes, Quilk said slowly. You did, how? We fought smarter, Daun said. We used what we had. Our flexibility, our endurance, our ability to adapt. And we worked together. Most species, when injured as severely as you were, would have stopped fighting. The pain alone should have been enough. Should have, Tae-yang agreed. But like I told the doctor, we can push through pain when we need to. It's just how we're built. And the rage? Quilks asked. I observed that the young one fought with increasing intensity as the battle progressed. Despite his injuries growing worse, he became more aggressive. Hyunwoo looked uncomfortable. I don't know. I just got angry. Really angry. And the anger made everything else fade away. Quilks made notes on a device he carried. Fascinating. Your species has been categorized as low threat by the Galactic Council. After tonight, I believe that assessment needs revision. We're not looking for trouble, Tae-yang said. We just want to do our jobs and live our lives. But when trouble finds you? Tae-yang smiled slightly, then winced as it pulled his stitches. The gravity well wasn't much to look at. It sat in the lower levels of Nexus Station, where the lights flickered and the air smelled like recycled oxygen, mixed with too many different species breathing it. The bar catered to traders, haulers, and anyone else who didn't mind sitting next to creatures from 100 different worlds. Tae-yang pushed through the entrance, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. Behind him came Boram, wiping grease from her hands with a rag. She'd been elbow-deep in the ship's engine for the past 6 hours. Hyunwoo followed, stretching his arms above his head and yawning. The kid was barely 22, still new to space travel, still excited about everything. Finally, Hyunwoo said, "I thought we'd never get here." "Stop complaining," Boram said, shoving him lightly. "You spent most of the trip sleeping anyway." The bar was already crowded. Tae-yang scanned the room out of habit. A group of Krylloth warriors occupied the far corner, their insect-like bodies hunched over a table that looked too small for them. Their exoskeletons gleamed under the dim lights, dark green and shiny. Near the bar itself sat a massive Gravik, his thick gray skin looking like stone. The creature had to weigh at least 500 kilograms. Scattered around were other species. Some Tae-yang recognized, others he didn't. A few turned to look at the humans entering, but most ignored them. Humans were still new to the galactic community. They'd only had faster-than-light travel for about 15 years. Most aliens saw them as fragile curiosities. "There," Boram pointed to an empty table near the wall. "Perfect spot." They settled in, and Tae-yang ordered drinks from a passing server, a floating, jellyfish-like creature that bobbed in the air. It blinked its many eyes and drifted away toward the bar. "Long haul," Hyunwoo said, leaning back in his chair. "But we made good time." "Thanks to my engine work," Boram said. "You're welcome," Tae-yang smiled. They'd been running cargo together for 3 years now. Boram was the best engineer he'd ever worked with, and Hyunwoo, despite being young, learned fast. They were a good crew. The drinks arrived in containers suited to human hands. Tae-yang took a sip and felt the burn. Whatever it was strong, so what's next? Hyunwoo asked. "Another cargo run?" "Maybe," and Tae-yang said. "I'm waiting to hear back from a contact. Could be a good job." Across the bar, laughter erupted from the Krylloth table. One of them stood, its long limbs unfolding. It was massive, easily 2.5 meters tall. The creature's mandibles clicked together as it spoke to its companions in their chittering language. "They're loud," Boram observed. "Let them be," Tae-yang said. "Not our problem." A figure approached their table. She was human, carrying a medical bag over one shoulder. Her hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and she had the look of someone who'd seen too much of the galaxy's rough edges. "Anyone sitting here?" she asked, gesturing to the empty chair. "Go ahead," Tae-yang said. She sat down with a grateful sigh. "Thanks, every other table is full." "I'm Da-un," Tae-yang. "This is Boram and Hyunwoo." "Medic?" Boram asked, eyeing the bag. "Yeah, traveling through. My transport doesn't leave until tomorrow." Da-un ordered her own drink when the server floated by again. "You all are haulers?" "Cargo ship," Tae-yang confirmed. "Nothing fancy." They fell into easy conversation. Da-un had stories from her time working on medical stations, and she seemed happy to talk to other humans. Out here in the galaxy, running into your own species was always a pleasant surprise. More customers filtered into the gravity well. The noise level rose. The Krylloth warriors grew louder, their clicking and chittering carrying across the room. The big Gravik at the bar ordered another round, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. "Do you ever get used to it?" Hyunwoo asked. "Being around all these different species?" "You get used to anything," Da-un said, "though some species are easier to deal with than others." "The Krylloth?" Boram asked. "They're warriors. Everything is about honor and strength with them." Da-un took a drink. "They think humans are weak because we don't have natural weapons. No claws, no venom, no thick armor. We do fine," Tae-yang said quietly. In the corner of the bar sat another figure, smaller than most, with gray skin and large eyes. Ambassador Quilks of the Centauri. Tae-yang had seen Centauri before. They were diplomats, observers, always watching and taking notes. This one seemed particularly interested in the humans at the table. The evening wore on. Tae-yang found himself relaxing. It was good to be off the ship even in a dump like this. The drinks kept coming, though he made sure not to have too many. You never knew when you'd need your wits about you. Hyunwoo stood up. "I'm getting another round. Anyone want anything?" "I'm good," Boram said. "Same," said Da-un. Hyunwoo made his way toward the bar, weaving between tables. The place was packed now, bodies and limbs and tentacles everywhere. He squeezed past a group of smaller aliens and headed straight for the bar. That's when it happened. He bumped into one of the Krylloth warriors. Not hard, just a glancing contact as he tried to navigate the crowd. The warrior was standing near the bar, speaking with its companions. The Krylloth turned fast, its compound eyes fixed on Hyunwoo. The clicking of its mandibles stopped. "Watch yourself, soft skin," it said in heavily accented but understandable Galactic common. "Sorry," Hyunwoo said, raising his hands. "Accident." "It's crowded." "Humans," another Krylloth said, its voice full of contempt. "Clumsy prey animals." Hyunwoo's jaw tightened, but he kept his mouth shut. He tried to move past them toward the bar. The first Krylloth moved into his path. It was huge up close, all hard edges and sharp joints. "Did I say you could go?" Taeyang was already standing. He caught Bo-Ram's eye and jerked his head toward the bar. Something in his gut told him this wasn't going to end well. They moved through the crowd. "Look," Hyunwoo was saying. "I said I was sorry. Let's just leave it." The Krylloth clicked its mandibles in what might have been laughter. Then it shoved Hyunwoo. Hard. The young man flew backward and crashed into a table. Drinks spilled everywhere. Aliens scattered, shouting in various languages. Da-eun was on her feet instantly. She reached Hyunwoo first, helping him up. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Hyunwoo said, but his face was red with anger and embarrassment. Taeyang stepped between them and the Krylloth. Bo-Ram was at his side. The bar had gone quiet. Everyone was watching now. He apologized, Taeyang said calmly. "It was an accident. Let's all just go back to our drinks." The Krylloth warrior leaned down, bringing its face close to Taeyang's. Its breath smelled like copper and something sweet. "Your kind doesn't belong out here. You're too soft, too weak. You have no claws, no natural armor. You're just meat." The massive Gravik at the bar turned to watch. He laughed, a deep booming sound. "The bug has a point. Humans are fragile things. I've seen stronger creatures in my food." More laughter from the Krylloth table. Other species were watching with interest now. Some looked uncomfortable. Others seemed amused. Ambassador Quilks in the corner had put down its drink. Its large eyes were fixed on the scene. Taeyang took a slow breath. "We don't want trouble." "Too late," the Krylloth said. Then it struck him. The blow came fast, a clawed hand slashing across Taeyang's face. He felt the skin split, felt the hot rush of blood. His head snapped to the side. The bar went completely silent. Taeyang straightened slowly. He touched his face, felt the blood on his fingers. He looked at it for a moment. Then he looked back at the Krylloth warrior and smiled. "Big mistake," he said quietly. Hyunwoo threw the first punch. Hyunwoo's fist connected with the Krylloth's midsection. The warrior stumbled back more from surprise than pain. Its exoskeleton was hard and Hyunwoo felt the impact jar his knuckles. But he didn't care. Nobody hit his captain. The Krylloth recovered quickly. It swung at Hyunwoo with one of its long limbs. The young man ducked and the clawed hand whistled over his head. The other Krylloth warriors were already moving, rising from their table with clicking sounds that might have been excitement. "Here we go," Bo-Ram muttered. She grabbed a bottle from a nearby table. 3 Krylloth moved toward them. The first one reached for Taeyang with both arms. Taeyang sidestepped fast for someone who'd just been hit. He grabbed the creature's arm and used its own momentum to send it crashing into a table. Wood splintered. Alien scrambled away. The second Krylloth came at Bo-Ram. She waited until it was close, then smashed the bottle against its head. Glass shattered. The warrior reeled back, shaking its head. Green fluid leaking from between the plates of its exoskeleton. "That's for calling us weak," Bo-Ram said. Da-eun had moved to the side, her medical training kicking in. She watched the angles, looking for threats. A 4th Krylloth tried to grab her from behind. She spun, her elbow driving into what she guessed was a nerve cluster near its neck joint. The creature made a choking sound and fell to its knees. "Anatomy lesson," Da-eun said. "Every species has weak points." Hyunwoo was trading blows with the first warrior. He was taking hits, his lips split and bleeding, but he kept coming forward. The Krylloth seemed confused. Most species would have backed down by now. Humans didn't have thick skin or natural armor. They should have been easy to intimidate. But Hyunwoo wasn't backing down. He was getting angrier. He ducked under another swing and drove his fist into the joint where the Krylloth's leg met its body. The warrior's leg buckled. Hyunwoo followed up with a punch to what he hoped was its face. His knuckles were bleeding now, cut on the hard edges of the exoskeleton, but he didn't stop. The bar erupted into chaos. Aliens were fleeing to the exits or pressing against the walls. Tables were overturned. Drinks and food scattered across the floor. The floating server creature had disappeared somewhere near the ceiling, its tentacles wrapped tight around a light fixture. Tae Yang was fighting two Krylloth at once. Blood ran from the cut on his face, but his eyes were clear and focused. He grabbed a chair and swung it like a club, connecting with one warrior's midsection. The chair broke apart. He kept the leg, now using it as a shorter weapon, jabbing at joints and gaps in their armor. "You call us prey?" Tae Yang said, his voice calm despite the violence. Prey runs away. He drove the chair leg into the gap under one Krylloth's arm. The warrior shrieked and pulled back. Tae Yang pressed forward, not giving it space to recover. Boram had grabbed another bottle. She was smaller than the warriors, faster. She darted in and out, striking at joints and sensory organs. One Krylloth tried to grab her. She slid under its reach and kicked at its knee joint. Something cracked. The warrior toppled. "Engineering," she panted. "Teaches you about leverage and weak points. Turns out works on bugs too." The massive Gravik at the bar stood up. Thum, his species was called. He lumbered forward, drawn by the fight. His people were built like living tanks, their skin thick enough to stop most weapons. "Enough of this," Thum rumbled. "Let me show you what real strength looks like." He charged at Tae Yang like a freight train. The captain barely had time to move. Thum's shoulder hit him anyway, a glancing blow that still sent Tae Yang spinning into the wall. He hit hard enough to dent the metal. For a moment, Tae Yang just lay there. The Krylloth stopped fighting, watching. This was it. The human was done. Then Tae Yang got up. Slowly, painfully, he pushed himself to his feet. Blood ran from his nose now, mixing with the cut on his face. He was pretty sure he'd cracked a rib. Everything hurt. He looked at Thum and grinned through bloody teeth. "That all you got?" Thum stared. In his long life, he'd seen many species. Most would have stayed down from a hit like that. Some would have died. This human was standing, was smiling. "You're insane," Thum said. "Yeah," Tae Yang agreed. "Probably." Hyunwoo was still fighting his Krylloth. The young man's face was a mess of bruises and cuts. His shirt was torn. One eye was swelling shut, but he was still throwing punches. His opponent was backing away now, trying to get distance. The warrior couldn't understand it. Every blow it landed should have ended this. Humans were supposed to be fragile, but this one kept coming. The pain should have stopped him. Fear should have stopped him. Nothing was stopping him. Daewon had taken down two more Krylloth. She wasn't using brute force. She was using precision. Joint locks, pressure points, strikes to nerve clusters. Her medical knowledge made her terrifyingly effective. She knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum pain with minimum effort. One warrior tried to grab her. She twisted its arm in a direction it wasn't meant to go. Something popped. The warrior screamed and fell. "Sorry," Daewon said, not sounding sorry at all. "But you started this." Boram was breathing hard. She'd taken several hits and her arm hung at an odd angle, probably dislocated. She switched the bottle to her other hand and kept fighting. A Krylloth loomed over her. "Give up, human. You're injured." "Yeah?" Boram gasped. "So are you." She smashed the bottle into its compound eyes. The warrior shrieked and stumbled backward, clawing at its face. Ambassador Quilks watched from his corner table. He hadn't moved the entire time. His large eyes took in everything. The way the humans fought. The way they didn't stop despite injuries. The way they used everything around them as weapons. His species had been studying humans since they joined the galactic community. The report said they were weak, fragile, no natural defenses. They'd been classified as a low-threat species. Quilks was revising that assessment. Thum charged again. This time, Tae Yang was ready. As the massive alien came forward, Tae Yang grabbed a support beam that had been torn loose from a broken table. It was solid metal, heavy. He swung it like a baseball bat. The beam connected with Thum's head. The sound was like a gong. Thum's charge faltered. He stumbled sideways, crashing through another table. For the first time since the fight started, the huge alien looked uncertain. "Leverage," Tae Yang said, echoing Boram's earlier words. "And physics. We might be weak, but we understand how to use tools." He advanced on Thum, the metal beam held ready. The first Krylloth warrior, the one who'd started everything, looked around the bar. Half his companions were down. The humans were still standing. They were bleeding, injured, clearly hurt, but they weren't stopping. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Humans didn't fight like this. They couldn't. Their species had no natural weapons, no armor, nothing that made them dangerous. But watching them now, the warrior understood something. Humans didn't need natural weapons. They turned everything into a weapon. Hyunwoo finally dropped his opponent. The Krylloth fell hard, not unconscious, but no longer willing to fight. The young man stood over it, swaying slightly, his fists still raised. "Anyone else?" he panted. The remaining Krylloth looked at each other. They'd come here looking for easy targets, for amusement. They'd found something very different. One of them reached for something at his belt. A plasma blade. The weapon hummed to life, casting blue light across his face. The entire atmosphere changed. Everyone in the bar, even the non-fighters, understood what this meant. Weapons meant lethal intent. This wasn't a bar brawl anymore. Taeyang saw the blade. His expression, which had been almost amused despite the violence, went cold. Still, his eyes locked on the warrior holding the weapon. "Put that away," he said quietly. "We were just fighting. Don't make this something worse." The Krylloth warrior, humiliated by the fight, angry beyond reason, didn't listen. He lunged forward, the blade aimed at Taeyang's chest. What happened next took less than 2 seconds. Taeyang moved. Fast. Faster than any of the aliens expected. He caught the warrior's wrist, twisted, and the blade clattered to the floor. In the same motion, he drove his elbow into the warrior's throat and swept its legs. The Krylloth hit the ground hard. Before it could move, Taeyang had picked up the plasma blade. He held it to the warrior's throat, the blue light reflecting in his eyes. The bar was completely silent. "We were having fun," Taeyang said softly. "You just made it serious." That's when station security finally arrived.